Hey guys, David here, and I am back in Australia after spending a few days in Los Angeles for E3. And as expected, E3 was pretty hectic. Like, I knew it was going to be sort of crazy, but I wasn't really prepared for how much it could overwhelm me. And because of that, I did get sort of behind in terms of the work I was meant to do. Didn't do as many videos as I wanted to. But now that I'm home and have had some pretty decent sleep, I should be able to get back into the swing of things. And I'm going to kick that off with a video just recapping some of the biggest announcements about the 3DS at E3. So not necessarily announcements from the E3 press conference from Nintendo, just E3 in general. Because there was really just a ton of announcements, as you'd expect from E3. So I don't want to recap every single little thing that was announced. I'll just go a few of the things that I thought were pretty cool. But if you had a different announcement that you liked the best, we'll definitely leave that in the comments below. And we can all just sort of reminisce about the recent E3 together, which I think is sort of a nice idea. It also means I can do less work. So that helps too. But anyways, perhaps the most surprising announcement for me at least was the fact that Smash Brothers is coming to the 3DS and the Wii U. I definitely expected there to be a Smash Brothers related announcement, but I really thought it was just going to be for the next Nintendo home console. The fact that it's coming to the Wii U and the 3DS, well, that's just pretty surprising. But there's a pretty big misconception that the game is in development. But it's not. Masahiro Sakurai, the guy that worked on the previous Smash Brothers games and will be working on the new one, is still working on Kid Icarus Uprising, although it's like pretty much done at the moment. But he hasn't actually started the new Smash Brothers just yet. And that's why we didn't see anything about the game, we didn't get any details or anything like that. It was very much a teaser. It was basically, this exists, it's coming at some point, but that's it. So at the earliest, I wouldn't really expect any concrete details or even a look at the game until E3 next year. But even that could end up being a little bit too early because Masahiro Sakurai said something about that he wants to really find the right team for the game. And if that means he has to work with a very small team, he'll do that. And then he said that it could take up to 5 years to make the game. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's going to have a stricter deadline than 5 years. But it is the type of game that we shouldn't expect next year, maybe even not the year after. Especially since they're working on the 3DS and the Wii U version at the same time. But another game that was announced, and we can expect it much sooner than Smash Brothers, is Luigi's Mansion 2. This was another game that was pretty much expected to be announced because Luigi's Mansion, the original one on the GameCube, was one of the first games they tested in 3D. So it was really just a matter of time before it happened again, but now it's happened, so that's awesome. It's pretty much what you would expect in terms of a sequel. You play as Luigi, you go around a bunch of different mansions, and you catch ghosts. So not much completely new, but it does look very good. Like, I spent some time with it at E3, I played the demo, and it is a lot of fun, and it's definitely a game that seems to reward you for exploration, because you can just sort of like breeze through it, at least based on the demo, you can sort of breeze through it, and you can just go from like basically checkpoint to checkpoint, and just go through the game in a very linear way. But there's plenty of room for exploration, getting all the different coins and that kind of stuff. So there's really going to be a lot of content below the surface. So there's going to be a ton of stuff you're going to have to search for, which to me definitely sounds awesome, so that'll probably be a game I pick up on day one. Although it's not coming out till next year, so still a bit of a wait. And another game that I'm very excited to pick up is Mario Kart 3D. And Nintendo has said that it's possible that Mario Kart 3D will allow for 8 players to play online. So in a single race with Mario Kart 3D online, you might be able to verse up to 7 other people, which would be amazing. It's not confirmed or anything like that, you know, they're still working on it, and they're sort of worried about the frame rate. They're not going to like do it if the frame rate's going to drop, but they're working on it. Hopefully it happens because that would be awesome. And since the 3DS was shown off last year, everyone has been wanting the red Nintendo 3DS. It was shown off at E3 2010, but then it just sort of disappeared. And that wasn't a massive deal for me. I don't really care about the colour, but I'm happy to say that the Nintendo 3DS is coming out in red in Japan. Yeah, so sorry to crush your dreams for you there, but we don't really know if it's coming to North America or Europe or anything like that. It's only being released in Japan at this point. But if you live in Japan, or maybe you want to import the red 3DS, then from July 14th onwards, you'll be able to pick it up. Just keep in mind, it is region locked, so you have to play Japanese games on it. And you can't change the language. It's all in Japanese, and it's staying in Japanese. But still, it's a pretty good sign. I imagine the red 3DS will come out in other parts of the world at some point. Maybe even at Christmas. You know, I could sort of imagine maybe a Super Mario 3DS bundle where it has a red 3DS with it. I don't really know, but there is that small amount of hope you can hold to, which is something. And a long time ago, there was a rumour that Kid Icarus Uprising might have a multiplayer mode. This basically came from Masahiro Sakurai himself. He said his team was working on the feature, didn't really know if it was going to be in the full game though. Luckily, it is. It's definitely not the focus of the game, but there is a 3 vs 3 team deathmatch multiplayer mode. And I played around with it a bit at E3, and it's pretty decent. You know, not the most involved sort of multiplayer mode. It is very much like just an addition to the single player, but I had fun with it. You'll probably enjoy it, and the game in general is definitely worth picking up. Like, Kid Icarus Uprising is pretty much my most anticipated game. Even more so than Ocarina of Time 3D and Mario Kart 3D and all that stuff. Another game that is definitely worth keeping your eye on though is Star Fox 64 3D, and now we actually have a release date for North America. So it's coming out on the 11th of September, and, you know, may as well get it. Like, if you've never played Star Fox 64 before, this is going to be a great version of it. If you have played the game before, I really think the addition of 3D is just worth rebuying it, because it's definitely one of those games that does not hurt your eyes in any way when the 3D is used, but it adds a ton of depth to the environments, and I just really enjoyed it. Or at least I really enjoyed the small amount of time I spent with it at E3. And lastly, we have some small news, nothing too major, but basically, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Zelda, Nintendo is including a Zelda-themed level in Super Mario 3DS. So this level takes place from a top-down perspective, like the classic Zelda games, and there's basically a bunch of Zelda-themed obstacles and different puzzles you have to do. So it's a pretty small addition, nothing major, but I thought it was pretty neat. And I always like how Nintendo includes references between different Nintendo games. But yep, that is it. They are my top 7 announcements relating to the 3DS from E3. Definitely leave your favourite announcements in the comments below, and I'll try to get kickstarted again with more videos about the 3DS and the Wii U. But I guess that is it for now, so I will talk to you later.